from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio Afternoon News. First, here are the headlines. More than 40 people have been killed, including women and children, in 3 separate attacks in Abia administrative area yesterday. Several secondary school candidates in Unity States are expected to miss examination next week after the Examination Council reduced its centers. And the Islamic Council says most of its grabbed pieces of land in Juba have been returned. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Lugala Mulai. And now the news in detail. Authorities in Abia administration area say 40 people have been killed, including women and children, in 3 separate attacks in the area yesterday. This is according to Abia area spokesperson Ajak Deng Mian. He says 5 civilians were killed in Low Village cattle camp on eastern part at 6 a.m. and 2 hours later 9 people were killed in Nong Village on the northern part of Abia town. Deng added that the suspected Masria group killed 27 people in Amet Market in a random shooting at 10 a.m. He said a 4-year-old child was abducted and 5 others missing properties were looted. 10 people were also wounded in attacks and many civilians displaced. Deng is calling on the UNISFA to live up to its mandate and render effective protection to the civilians. Deng is urging the UN Interim Force for Abia area, or UNISFA, to effectively exercise its mandate of protecting civilians. He spoke to iRadio from Abia this morning.
We have 5 billion in Low. We have 27 in Miet Market, where the shooting was random, and then we have 9 in Nong Village. So the total is very high. The total of casualties, 26. Up to now, in the hospital, we received 20. The message of area, we condemn this in the strongest term, and we urge the UNISFA, the security force that is taking up the protection of civilians in the Bay Area, to raise up to a level of their role in the protection of civilians. And we also urge the 2 countries, South Sudan and Sudan, to come up with final status of Abia, because people of Abia has been suffering. Now, this huge number of casualties you have seen since February, the area has been in the events, killing and looting, losing properties. So it is really a problem.
Last month, 27 people were reportedly killed and 4 others wounded by suspected Masria gunmen from the neighboring Sudan. A lawmaker says 3 people have been abducted and more than 400 herds of cattle were looted from Mayom of Unity State on Wednesday. Stephen Bolley, who is representing Mayom County in the National Parliament, says the attackers are believed to have come from Gogrial East and Tony counties of Warab State. He says the incident took place at around 2 p.m. in an area called Border in Mayom County of Unity State. Honorable Ball spoke to iRadio this morning.
It was yesterday afternoon around 2 o'clock. A well-armed Jews from Gogrial East and so surprise attack at the cattle camp of Denglos at around 2 o'clock in the area called Border. Within that accident, the Jews in the cattle camp managed to engage with the raiders, and then they recovered some of the cows. But the attackers went away with 441 cows, and they killed 3 cows and 3 people who are missing up to now. But we don't know whether they killed them or they do. We don't know up to now. We are now following up with the authority in the area there.
Cattle rustling or raiding is no longer a cultural practice, but a form of organized crime committed by criminal networks. It is facilitated by an increasing proliferation of weapons, according to a study by ENAC Transitional Organized Crime Researchers at the Institute of Security Studies. Traditionally, small-scale cattle theft was a way of balancing community wealth and power, but crime and capitalism have commercialized this practice, making it a significant economic threat, the researchers say. The practice has caused many deaths among rural communities and security forces in Kenya and South Sudan. More than 200 secondary school candidates in Unity State are likely to miss examination next week after the Examination Council reduced its centers in the area. The State Minister of Education, Stephen Tot Chang, says the students are from three distant counties of Panjijar, Mayandit and Quoch. This is after the National Examination Committee reduced the number of examination centers to 3, citing insecurities and poor transport networks. The Examination Council reportedly told candidates from the 3 remote areas to sit for their exams in the state capital Bentiu, about 80 miles away. Speaking to iRadio last evening, Minister Chang said,
You know, we are worried about the 3 counties, that is Mayandit, Koch, Panjijar. Those counties have got 208 candidates, and those candidates likely to miss exams because of the distance between Bentiu and those counties. They have been told to come and sit in the headquarters, that is the committee for examination. Then we are now negotiating with the committees to at least reconsider that decision of reducing centers into 3. He was negotiating with he will be pushing for another 2 centers. Maybe that will be Panjijar and Mayandit.
Last month, authorities in eastern Equatoria protested a similar reduction of examination centers from 27 to 3, a decision that was later reversed by the National Ministry of Education. You are listening to iRadio News. The Islamic Council says most of its grabbed pieces of land in Juba have been returned. The Islamic community have, in several occasions, raised complaints about its properties, especially in Juba town, Melekia and Konyo. According to the Islamic Council, some of the pieces of land were grabbed after the independence of South Sudan. During Eid al-Fitr in 2018, President Salva Kiir vowed to give back land stolen from the Islamic Council. Abdallah Baraj is the Secretary General of South Sudan Islamic Council. He says the returned pieces of land include Al-Mulid Playground in Juba Town, Preaching Center in Konyo, Juba Scientific Institute, among others. Baraj spoke to iRadio yesterday.
الرئيس الجمهورية سلفا كير ميادي طلع قرار 2018 أمر بإرجاع ممتلكات المسلمين، وفي حاجات لو ما كان قرار الرئيس ده 50 سنة ما نقدر نلم فوقه، فنحن استرجعنا كثير. يعني يمكن أنا أقول 80% من حاجاتنا الآن بقي في يدنا، وفي حاجات فيها قضايا، وفي حاجات ما فيها أوراق، وفي حاجات ضاعت، وفي حاجات تم تسوية فيها، وعملنا تسويات واشترينا بدائل. يعني لكن معظم الممتلكات المسلمين الآن في يدنا. عندنا ميدان مولد، عندنا مركز الوعظ في سوق جوبا، عندنا معهد جوبا العلمي، مهارات كلها ورجعنا له. يعني المساحات رجعت للمجلس الإسلامي، مساحات كبيرة، وإن شاء الله الآن يحتاج لتطوير واستثمار.
According to the transitional constitution, all land in South Sudan is owned by the people and its usage shall be regulated by the government. It says community land shall include all land traditionally and historically held or used by local communities or their members. The constitution further stipulates that the communities and persons enjoying rights in land shall be entitled to prompt and equitable compensation on just terms arising from accusation or development of land in their area in public interest. Finally, before moving to stories making headlines in the region and the international scene, the Secretary General of Pastoralist Union in South Sudan says there is no government policy to guide pastoralists in the country. The concern was raised after the country recorded several incidents of conflicts brought about by the presence of cattle in farm practicing communities. Adet Kir Chol says when associations are formed, farmers and pastoralists will have a platform to channel their grievances for solution. He added that organizing the union activities will motivate the partners to provide help. He spoke to iRadio in Juba yesterday.
The root cause of the conflict between farmers and pastoralists, no policy to guide the pastoralists. Government have no policy to guide the pastoralists farmers. It was just recently where we passed 4 bill. I myself was included. about the bills of how the National Ministry of Livestock and Fishery must have a bill to guide the pastoralists. In this way, we as the Union of Pastoralists, we have our bill, a constitution, a policy.
In recent months, cattle keepers, riders and host communities have been engaged in violent conflicts in Magui County of Eastern Equatoria State that led to losses of lives and destructions of properties. Western Bahr el Ghazal State has always witnessed several insecurity situations since 2013 and 2016 incidents, and also insecurity caused by migrated pastoralists from Warab and Northern Bahr el Ghazal State and farmers. You are listening to iRadio News. Now to stories making headlines in the region and the international scene, brought to you by MTN. Here is Kafuki Jada.
1, 2, 3. 1 million. 2 million.
Yes. It's time to celebrate. MTN 2 million. MTN has reached over 2 million customers and still counting. Are you? With over 2 million subscribers, why won't you trust MTN?
To enter the draw, get an MTN SIM card today and get free 10 minutes every day for 3 months and 500 MB every month for 3 months. And on top of that, qualify to enter a draw to win 2 million SSP cards.
Sabi, what are you waiting for? Buy an MTN SIM card today and get to win 2 million SSP. Yes, when MTN says 2 million SSP, it's 2 million for one lucky Junubin. Second winner gets 200,000 SSP, 10 winners get 20,000 SSP, and others get lots of MTN branded prizes.
Join MTN, the biggest family in South Sudan, and enjoy such amazing offers.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Thank you. And now to the international news. Kenyan authorities have reportedly cancelled the work permit of a French chief executive of one of the biggest oil marketers in Kenya amid a fuel shortage crisis. The government is said to have ordered the deportation of a Christian background, the chief executive of Rubis Energy Kenya, a subsidiary of France-based Rubis Group. The energy regulator had on Tuesday accused some oil marketers of withholding the supply of fuel to the local market and prioritizing exports to neighboring countries. Elsewhere, Britain has agreed a deal with Rwanda to relocate some asylum seekers to the East African country. The Rwandan government will receive an initial payment of over 150 million to take part in the scheme. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been giving details of the scheme, which would see single men applying for refugee status rent 6,000 kilometers away to be resettled in Rwanda. He said he was taking action to deter people smuggling. Finally, police video has been released of a white officer fatally shooting a black man in the back of the head after a scarf over a stun gun. Footage of the 4th April incident in Grand Rapids, Michigan shows Patrick Loyoya, 26, running from the officer following a traffic stop. The officer, who has not been named, is then heard telling Mr. Loyoya to let go of his taser before the man is shot as he lies face down on the ground. The shooting has led to protests. Back to you, my colleague.
Thank you very much, Kafuki Jada. And the news from the region and the international scene was brought to you by MTN. Now to stories in the world of sports. Here is Alex Misogo.
In local sport, South Sudan Football Association yesterday declared SSFA position to support Gianni Infantino's candidates for FIFA next presidential election slated for next year. In his press statement, Mr. Agustino acknowledged the FIFA president for his tremendous work towards development of football worldwide, particularly South Sudan. In a quote, Mr. President Gian, in the last 2 terms of your tenure, the global football family has seen a massive development of football under your wise leadership, and our nation, South Sudan, wasn't left behind. In international sport, Manchester City's Super Champions League victory over Atletico Madrid could have come at a cost, with Pepe Guardiola admitting his sides are in big trouble as a result of injuries picked up in the Spanish capital. Both Kevin De Bruyne and Kyle Walker were first offers, City staked a defiant defensive display to claim a 0-0 draw at the Wanda Metropolitano, securing a 1-0 aggregate win. In the other matches played yesterday, Liverpool remain in the hunt for a historical quadruple after a thrilling draw with Benfica secured a 2-legged Champions League semi-final against Villarreal. Having established a 3-1 lead in Lisbon, Liverpool extended their advantage with Ibrahim Konate's powerful 21st minutes header from a Costas Tsimikas corner. In athletics, Kenyan long-distance runner Joyce Chipekula has been banned for 4 years for an athletic biological passport violation. The 63-year-old won the 10,000 meter at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow in 2014 and also took the African title over the same distance in Marrakech the same year. Chipekula has been provisionally suspended since June 2019 after an expert panel studied anomalies in blood sample collected by World Athletics between 2016 and 2017. That's what we had for you in sports. Back to you in the studio. My name is Alex Misogo.
Thank you very much, Alex Misogo, for taking us through the world of sports. You were listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. More than 40 people have been killed, including women and children, in 3 separate attacks in Abia administrative area. Several secondary school candidates in Unity State are expected to miss exams next week after Examination Council reduced its centers. And the Islamic Council says most of its grabbed pieces of land in Juba have been returned. That is the end of iRadio Afternoon News. You can get these stories and updates by subscribing to iRadio News Alert on your MTN South Sudan number. Call 700 or dial star 700 hash and follow the instructions. If there's a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30 PM. I have been Lugara Mulai. Thanks for listening.
One, two.